Alright, what's up YouTube? So today I'm going to be taking care of my my radio. It's still not even like secured. I got it all wired up. That was in a different video, but oops. It just kind of chills in here, and I'm going to make a little makeshift thing that's going to sit on top of the radio, and I'm going to incorporate a boost gauge into there too, like right up in here. Okay, so I'm unhooking the wiring harness from the back of the radio. Not any of the wires, like they're all going to stay where they are. They're just going to plug back in. So I'm going to use this metal piece that kind of holds this in place. It sits real nice in here. So I'm going to put that in. So I've got to snake all the wires through this thing, kind of like that. And then I'm just going to push this into place. Yeah, you see what I mean? It sits like it's nice and snug in there. It's nice and tight. And then I'm going to attach this right in the back again. Okay, so now that I got this connected, I'm just trying to push it all back into here. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty good down there. I can now use these cup holders again, which I really don't like. I got the whole cup holder conversion kit. There's a video on that too. It's nice in case I've got, you know, like 17 drinks going on in here that I can still use this. Comes with this black stuff. It's like chalkboard, but it'll work. Yeah, so that's going to fit in there really nice. Cup holders still work. It's like a nice pressure fit. Yeah, so that fit in there real nice and snug. I just popped it out, and I need to drill a hole for the boost gauge, and then I'm going to put a couple switches. Like I've got all these ones hanging down here for like the sub wires for the lights on the roof. Alright, so I got all the holes drilled for everything I need. I'm going to drop 2 toggle switches in. Alright, so it looks pretty good so far. Alright, so this is in place. I gotta slip this part over the back. Like that. So that's a switch on. Look at that. And there's space for one more switch if I need one. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out the best spot to install this line for the boost gauge. And from what everything I've seen, right here, pretty much right into the intake manifold is the best spot to do it. Okay, so this is the line that my boost gauge came with. It's like this hard plastic one, so I got this piece of vacuum line, and this is going to slip into this. And first, I need to cut this right here so I can attach this into it like that. Okay, so that's been sliced right into the pressure regulator. Alright, so I'm just gonna slip this T-fitting into there. Alright, so that one side's on. I got all these Harbor Freight hose clips. They're just as bad as you might expect. Okay, so I got this all in and attached. So I need to attach this line to that. So I'm gonna try to uncoil it myself. Wow, this is going to be a little more difficult than I thought. One of the wires I'm taking out is this white one. I went to the switch for these lights right here. Let me just say, this wire wasn't so hacked out first, the way it was just like hanging in the middle of the car. But I had to do a temporary fix at one point, so that's why it's like that, and then that kind of stayed that way for a while. The only reason I'm doing this now is so I can snake the boost gauge line through with this wire. This is a lot easier to maneuver than this stuff because it's all coiled up and it doesn't really want to uncoil. Alright, so this is really long needle nose pliers, and they're super helpful for like stuff like this. Here's that white wire. Alright. So that's coming down through now from way in there. I don't want to pull it all the way through yet because I'm going to use it to snake this boost gauge thing through. Okay, so I taped the end of this to this white wire. Come on. There we go. Okay, so you can now see that this is how that snake thing worked, or this high. Now I just need to take all this tape off of here. Then I'll be able to pull the boost gauge line through the rest of the way. Okay, so this thing is coming up right through this piece. It's going to run down through here onto this line, and then meet up with this. It goes to there, but I just gotta cut a little piece out of this so it'll slide in. Okay, so I actually ended up just poking a hole through there, and I'm going to seal that up as soon as I'm done with this so that doesn't get bad. And then I just need to attach this. I need to attach these two things. Okay, so this is all in place to some point, or it's all where it needs to be now. Now I'm just going to zip tie it in so it doesn't move around on me. Okay, so that's all run and good. Now I just need to pull it through the rest of the way. Okay, so I'm trying to snake this wire down through here, just so I can use it to pull the other ones up and through. Okay, so now you can see that this wire's through here. Okay, so the boost gauge has a light in it, and I think I'm going to try to just hook it up to the car lights. Now to get this switch out, it's kind of weird. You have to push this thing in and twist it. It's tricky, but there's this thing like kind of goes halfway and then pushes in. There it is. And it goes all the way out. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to wire to this dimmer switch right here. So you saw how I popped this thing out. To take the whole guy out, you actually have to unbolt that screw, but it's always been broken since I had this car. And then I just gotta undo some of this tape stuff so I can wire to these. Try and pop this whole cover off here. There we go. This will just allow me to get in there for that switch a little bit easier. Alright, this is some previous hackery of mine. Alright, so yeah, that's what I mean. Like, this thing just kind of sits in there. And I got the dimmer switch out now too, so now I can just wire right to this. This is for the sub wire. This is just like that fuse. That's the fuse for the fuel pump, which is good because that's something that's always on when the car is on and turns off when the car's off. When you need a fuse like that for the subs, unless they'll stay on all the time and drain your battery. Okay, so here we have the piece for the dimmer switch. This one all the way, the brown one, is the ground. And this one all the way to the right, the gray one with the blue stripe, is the positive wire. I'm going to cut this and this. I'm going to splice in another wire, and that's going to be for the light for the boost gauge. Okay, so this is how I'm doing these. I'm cutting the wire, and then I'm stripping it back, and then I'm putting a wire nut over it, and then I'm going to tape around the wire nut, and I'm going to do the same thing for the ground side. Hey. Alright, so I just got this light hooked up, so I'm going to see if the light works. There, look at that, it does. So that's fancy. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to try to bring the boost gauge line through now and pull this wire up. Okay, so before this wire, this is the remote wire for the amp for my subs. So this turns on when the car turns on, and that's what that wire tells it to do. And before it was just run to a fuse, so now I'm running it over to the back of the radio, where I can run it to this right here, this wire, and then it'll just turn on when the radio's on. And then I've got these wires up here that are going to go to the dimmer switch that are going to tell the light for the boost gauge to turn on when I turn it on. And then there's also a couple more wires that are coming up through, so I'll have a switch to turn these lights on. So this is my boost gauge setup. So I've got the gauge, then I've got the red and black wire for the light in this thing, and then I've got the two wires that are going to the sub, or the wire that's going to the sub for the remote, so I can turn that on and off, and then the ones for the lights on the roof, so I can turn those on and off. Okay, so I realized that this blue wire I had was a lot thinner. It says use at least 18 gauge for this. It was like 24, so I'm just putting in a bigger wire. I gotta tape that all up, and then I'll put that switch back on. Okay, so I put that back up in here. Now I just gotta put this switch back on. Okay, so I think I've got all the wires up where they need to be into the radio area. These are gonna be the first wires that go to these switches. Okay, so that sub switch is wired in. And now I just need to do one for the lights up top. That's going to be the same thing, just with two of these wires. With these two wires right here. Alright, got that wired in there, so let's see. Look at that. Those haven't worked in a while, so that makes me happy. Now for the boost gauge parts. Okay, Okay, so these are just gonna go, I'm gonna nut these together like this. Okay, so I got the wires connected to the light on there. Let's see if it works. It does, cool. Now I just gotta connect this piece of line and I'll be all set. Okay, so this line has to go into here, into the back of this. It goes coming around there like that. Make sure to push this in snug and tight. That should be good. Then I gotta stick all this shit back into here. That's cool. Nice pressure fit. Where's that plastic piece for this? Which way this thing goes in? Pretty much, right? Looks good. These still work. Cool. Nice.